What is going on, everybody? How's your week going? How's your day going? I think... Oh, you know what? I got to do this first. Hang on. So if we go over here now... If we go here... Oh, we're going to lose this just for a second. Hang on. There's a way to do this. I need to black that out. Turn that down a little bit more. Oh, and I got to do this. Hang on. All right, now we're good. There's some games, I don't know, just the way they render. There's some games that will stay doing their thing in the background. So XSplit can see them, right? And they can keep being a game even when they're not in the front of all your windows. But then other games, like FS17, as soon as you tab to another window, it stops rendering. So what can you do? Right. How's everybody doing? What's been happening in your country? My country has been super chill. There's nothing going on here. Everything is awesome. Right, this is our pit. This is field 9.5 right here. Right over here. This is field 9.5. This is our pit right here. We had 240,000 liters in it. I took the 240,000 liters and I sold about 180,000 of it, 160,000. I sold most of it. What I kept there, we kept for cow food. And I was thinking, so I tried to do this. I had this fantastic idea. I thought, why don't we just take the rest of that, right? And we'll bring it right around the corner of the farm here. And we'll dump it in this other pit to get it out of the way. We'll dump it right over here. But turns out you can't do that. So I took a loaded trailer and I backed it in here and it would not tip. I think you can dump it with the bucket, but we need to bring it over just a couple thousand liters at a time. And the reason I wanted to put it here was because this pit is really kind of a pain in the ass to get into. So what I was thinking was if we've got silage in this pit, right, we can't put grass in it. But I really didn't want to make like 20 trips over to that other pit that we were just at because it would take forever to get in and out of there. So what I ended up doing was, we're going to teleport, bear with me. I'll hit the other button. We're going to teleport down to the BGA. Here we go. When you teleport to the BGA, you teleport directly to the BGA, like into the hopper. So I brought it down here instead. I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. We can either make short trips to the pit at the farm and then haul it all the way down here, or we can haul it all the way down here and make short trips from the face of the silage over to the hopper. So I put it in here. We got 245,000. So we did get 3 cuts. First cut, we hardly got anything from field 9.5. We got those 10 bales, but it kept the animals fed. Second cut, we got 250. We sold 180,000 of it. We have 60,000 left for the animals. Third cut, we got 250, and it is right in there. I didn't clamp it yet because we might get a fourth cut. It's not even autumn yet, so I think we might get a third cut. It would be fantastic if we did. I hope we do. So that's what's going on there. And what else is going on? I bought, pardon me, while we teleport one more time. Go back here. Where is it? It's going to be right over here. No, it's going to be right over here. I bought to own with some of our silage money. I bought this Larrington trailer right here. We're going to use it for silage. We're going to use it for grass. We're going to use it for soybeans when we harvest them. I figure, let's do it, right? Let's just pull the trigger on that. Hey, man. How you doing, Navi? You're lurking. You know what? I'm a lurker too. I lurk in a lot of streams. Some of them I'm very much a participant, but a lot of them I lurk. I'm a lurker. I'm a very shy person. I'll admit it. So what is going on? So we need to, let me see. We need to turn time back on first. I had time stopped while I was working. The milk tank is not quite full. We'll wait till tomorrow morning to empty that. The animals need power food so we could get hay bales for them. What time is it? It's 1 o'clock. Let's do that. Let's go get hay bales and bring them up here. Do we have one more? I think we have one more silage bale sitting on the trailer. We'll go get hay bales. We'll bring them up here. And if the animals run out of food tomorrow morning, we can just go down, rent a food mixer. Yeah, we've got one more bale. So we'll get that bale off there. We'll go pick up hay bales, and we'll have those at the farm. If the animals need food tomorrow, we can rent a food mixer, get them fed. We're going to sell milk tomorrow, and I think we're going to fertilize field 9-5 with some of the digestate we made down at the BGA. And then I think we're going to skip the rest of tomorrow, right? We'll speed through the rest of tomorrow and see if, because if we look, is it here? Yeah, if we look here, our soybeans will be ready on the morning of the first day of autumn. They say. So today's the 5th, right? We'll do this stuff, go through till tomorrow morning, then we'll speed through tomorrow, go through till the first day of autumn, and our soybeans should be ready to harvest. I hope. But we'll get like $8,000 for milk tomorrow, and that will just about cover the cost of the hay bales. So I think we're good. All right, that is a plan. So let's carefully get in here and get this thing picked up. Our spike is over yonder, is it not? Yeah, our spike is over by where the trailer's parked. So we will go, we'll go get that last silage bale off there. Right, and drive down to the store. Yep, that is the plan. I'm really scattered. I've been scattered since before New Year's. Even before the world became a very chaotic place, I was already scattered, and now I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm like barely hanging on, but man, these are very interesting times. And I really thought I set myself up for disappointment. I'll cop to that, mea culpa. But I really thought, as bad as 2020 was, 2021, I mean, it couldn't be worse. You gotta be careful thinking things like that, clearly. Right on. So we will, we'll take this off here. We've got, I think that's seed. We have seed for next spring. It's either seed or fertilizer. We don't need it right now, but we can use it next spring. Let's get this off here. And what else have I been doing? Oh, I've been flying too. Oh. If you want to keep your mind occupied, get you some of that flight sim. I've been in X-Plane. And you know what? We're going to use this tomorrow morning, so we can just drop it right here. I've been in X-Plane. I have been flying the Rotate MD-80, trying to learn all I can about that. And I figured there's got to be more to VATSIM than I'm getting from it. There has to be. Because I know people love the service and they use the service. What am I missing here? Right? And there very often is a controller on at an airport that I could go to, but a lot of times I don't know. You just get an idea. Like, I'd really like to fly from here to here, right? From Phoenix to Las Vegas. And you look on VATSIM and there's nobody working those airports, so But I had an idea, and I went to the VATSIM website and I looked up events, and it turns out every day of the week at probably, I'd say between 8 and a dozen airports, there is an event going on every single night. And it's different every night. So the first one that I went to was Gatwick. So it's only one airport that is like guaranteed to have ATC for certain hours. So it was Gatwick, and most of them are like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Zulu. And that's a problem. Carefully. Not carefully enough. How do we get out of here? Oh yeah, we go this way. Ernie, what's happening, my man? How you doing? So 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Zulu, European time, is like 1 to 4 my time, which is when I stream. So I did do the one at Gatwick, and I thought I was just going to sit and, because people said if you're trying to get familiar with VATSIM, just go to an airport, turn the radio on, just sit and listen and begin to familiarize yourself with the various, back and forth, the phraseology and that sort of thing. But you have to file a flight plan. Stingray, what's happening? You have to file a flight plan with VATSIM, right, to connect. And I generate my flight plans through SimBrief. So I figured, okay, I don't plan on flying, but I'll generate a flight plan from, where did I fly from? Gatwick to Glasgow. generated a flight plan, filed that, picked my call sign, everything else, found a gate that nobody was at, sat down at the gate in my airplane, turned the radio on, and was just listening. And while I was listening, I figured, well, I'll pre-flight the aircraft. I'll get it fueled up, right? You see where this is headed. And after listening to clearance delivery for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, I figured, well, I can just get clearance delivery and then log off. And I got clearance and continued my pre-flight. And then I requested pushback and start. And I taxied, which was very nerve-wracking. But with the Navigraph charts, it's a lot easier because you can sort of see where you're going. From kind of an overhead view, you get a moving aircraft on a map. Really makes it a lot easier, and it was complicated, I have to say. It was, you get a lot of information kind of dumped on you very quickly. But when you're looking at a map of the airport and you can see where you are and you know what runway you're going to, if ground tells you taxi via Alpha Lima Sierra Yankee and hold at the Yankee 4, you're looking at a map and you're not going to be on the other side of the airport. So you can sort of rule those out, if that makes sense. There are really only a certain number of places you can go. So it's not like you're trying to remember just straight up alphabet soup. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit easier than I anticipated, but it is a lot of information. So I taxied, I got my clearance, my departure clearance. I took off and I flew under ATC till I was out of London Center. So there are various areas outside of the airport that are still radar controlled. And I just flew till I got to the edge of that. And the controller came on, told me to go to Unicom, and I made my way to Glasgow. And then the next day, yesterday, so that'd be Thursday, I did another one. I flew from Helsinki to Amsterdam. Helsinki was packed. Amsterdam was not. And the controller at Amsterdam was getting ready to go off. They typically say, like, I'm going to be done in 5 minutes. I'm going to be done in 1 minute. And I was on final when he said 1 minute, but I think he stuck around for me. But very nice group of people. A lot of them were German and Dutch and Austrian and Swiss. So, and they're flight sim fans. So of course there's not a sense of humor in the bunch. They're very serious people, and they're very serious about this flight sim stuff. But they were also helpful and supportive and got me through it. And I have a lot more confidence to do it now. So I don't know if I'll ever do that for a stream, but I did fly 2 flights now, or 1.5 flights in VATSIM. And I know what that's all about now. So that's something else I've been up to the past couple days. Right. Let's buy some bales. So these are they into pallets? I always forget. Yeah, they are. So we want, we got to do, no, we can do round bales. We can do square bales and save 300 pounds. I'd rather do round. All right. So we've got those. If we go here now, we want round bales. Round bales. Where are we at? Right there. So we'll get these picked up. I am going to use UAL. We'll get these picked up, make our way back to the farm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else you can do it other than to do it, Ernie. And that was, I think my biggest concern is not so much embarrassing myself or, getting hollered at or whatever. It's a free service and it's not super critical to me. So if it's not a good fit, I'll just delete the app and not use it. The main thing that I was worried about was ruining somebody else's good time, because you are interacting with, there were probably 30 or 40 planes at Gatwick. So as far as taxiing, like if you get lost, that messes up everybody else. Now their taxi is disrupted. Or if you, when we lined up, when I was lining up, I was at the final hold before it was going to be my turn to depart. The aircraft that had pulled onto the runway in front of me was waiting for clearance departure. And tower came on and told him to exit the runway. And he's like, no, I'm not landing. I'm departing. And Tower is like, yeah, but I've got an aircraft at the other end of the runway that won't exit, and I've got a plane trying to land. So I need you to move. So the aircraft that is trying to land, I can't clear you for departure because there's still an aircraft on the runway and there's a plane on final behind you. So it can bottleneck like that. And that was my concern, is that I would be, you know what I mean? I'd be the guy at the grocery store whose debit card doesn't work and the line is just like piling up behind me. But everything worked really, really well. It wasn't perfect. I did make some mistakes, and I did have a German air traffic controller point out a couple things to me during my departure from Helsinki as far as what altitude I was meant to fly at. But I was using, so I generated a flight plan, put that into the computer in the aircraft, and was just letting the plane fly it. But apparently there were some altitude overrides for my departure. I was supposed to climb to 5,000 feet and hold there until I was cleared to 21,000, and I was just going straight up to 21,000. So they did, I was corrected several times, and it wasn't harsh, but it wasn't friendly. It was straight up like, hey, you made a mistake, don't do this again. But I definitely took it very seriously. There was no joking. It was not like, oh, hey, it happens. It was pointed out to me in a very serious way. So it was, I think, the perfect balance. And I don't know how else you can learn to do it other than to do it, but it was unnerving, worrying about ruining somebody else's evening. So that is what's going on there. It's this slows things down. VATSIM slows things down even more than regular flight sim. So regular X-Plane, it takes us 30 minutes to start the aircraft and push back. With VATSIM, it's closer to an hour. So I don't know if that's a part of the channel anytime soon. Maybe it will be. I don't know. But it's something about MP, something about doing things with other people in real life, even if it's online. It's like iRacing. Just a regular race in iRacing is about 10 times more intense than any AI race that I've ever been in. And it was yesterday, with all that traffic, was the same sort of like heart pounding goosebumps, I know it's just a game and there's no possibility of anybody being like hurt or killed. It's not that kind of grip, but there is an awareness like, I really need to do this absolutely perfectly. And it got my adrenaline going a few times. So that's what's going on with VATSIM. What else? It looks like Iberia is going to be available pretty soon. I don't know if they're going to slip that in 1.39 or if 1.40 is coming and then Wyoming will be for 1.41. I don't know. I feel like SCS may be out of sync at the moment, because typically for the past 3 or 4 cycles, they've released 2 DLC at the same time, one for ETS, one for ATS, and both of them to coincide with a patch. They may, and who knows, because of COVID, or maybe it's just a new way they're doing things. I don't know. But it looks like they may have one DLC on the ATS side for one patch, and then the next one for ETS for the next patch. That makes sense. Unknown. We'll see. But I saw that Iberia went from TBA on my wish list to coming soon. So hopefully, hopefully that'll be here soon as well. And what else? I got CCAN going. Oh, hang on. Yeah, the new cities really intrigue me, and I think it's cool that they included those for free with Vive la France. I think that's awesome. It's another thing to love about SCS. All right, and I'm going to, let's unload this here and then quickly put the straps on so we can pull these off. Okay, so it's 2:15 now. I think our animals will be okay till tomorrow morning. So let's park this up. What was I saying? I'll tell you after we get through the night. It's some Kerbal stuff. Kerbal is, I don't know, man. I think Kerbal could be hilarious for the channel. I think it could be really, really a lot of fun. I think it could also be just kind of, you know, odd and not really very good at all. So we'll get to 8 p.m. I'm going to take one more look at the food before we go through till tomorrow morning, just in case. I mean, we can't feed the animals tonight because the store is closed and we don't have a feed mixer. But if we had to, we could drop. What do we want? We want this. We could drop. No, we're fine. Just some silage or some hay or something in there, whatever, just to keep them from starving. But I think they'll be okay. So for Kerbal, I got an app called CCAN, which is the Consolidated Kerbal Archive Network. There's a ton of mods for Kerbal. Let's go back here. It's still okay, but our milk tank is full. Let's get that taken care of first because we're down to 1,500 pounds. So let's get our milk tank emptied. And while we're down there, we'll get water, come back, water the animals, and then see about getting them fed. So there's tons of mods for Kerbal, and this CKAN app aggregates them and keeps them updated. Right there and right there. Keeps them updated. So for there's some engineering and physics mods. There's some autopilot mods, docking mods, all kinds of stuff. This keeps them updated, so as the modder updates them, rather than you going to GitHub and having to keep track of all of them, I would say it's analogous to like the Steam Workshop. But when you put them all together like that, I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but I have problems with moderation. I tend to do things like to the extreme. So I've got a ton of mods for Kerbal that I want to try out. And I think it could be fun. I mean, Kerbal it's kind of a physics simulator. It's a space simulator, but it's kind of a physics simulator. Physics and rockets. It's a nerd playground. Graphics are not great, and it's got these silly little characters that I personally don't like at all, but I could do my best to avoid them. But essentially, we would be building rockets and trying to get into orbit. And once we have rockets that can get to orbit, then we would be wanting to take bigger and bigger pieces of, I don't know, whatever, into space. You can build a space station. You build it one piece at a time, like the ISS was built. You just haul things up there several tons at a time, solar panels, cooling units, living quarters, science modules, all of it. You just haul it up one piece at a time. But every time you fly up there, to drop a piece off, you have to coordinate the intercept, the rendezvous. You have to dock, right? Get everything configured, get the power sent over to it. If there are solar panels, get them deployed. It's very much a nerd toy. And that's just orbit. Beyond orbit, you can go to the moon, and it's got accurate Holman transfers and translunar injection. And if you went to space camp when you were a kid, then, well, if you went to space camp when you were a kid, you already know what Kerbal is. But all the stuff that's part of that type of exploration, that type of science, is in this sim. It's not a whole lot to look at, but it is. I find it fascinating. You be into Kerbal? It was on sale. I don't know if it still is. I think everything was on sale till the 5th, but it was on sale for like $10, I think. But if you're into that sort of thing, definitely check it out. You can build aircraft as well. I have never built a plane. I'm not really into that aspect of it, but you can build like aerodynamic vehicles as well. I don't know what you would call them. Planes, I guess, is the nickname. Yeah, that's what the kids are calling them these days. Aircraft. I haven't built any, but you can. Mostly you just build rockets and try to get things into space. And it's this weird balance. It's tricky for me. It's good OCD fuel for me, because more is not always better when it comes to science like that and physics like that. Very often, less is more, because the less you have to lift. So you're really only looking for an engine that makes enough power to lift the cargo and the fuel. and nothing more than that. You can really kind of get sideways to it where, well, I need more power to lift this, so I'll put a bigger engine on. That's going to burn more fuel. Now I need more fuel, but now I have to lift the fuel, and it just spirals out of control. So less is more, and I don't know. I've had success with it. I did, a couple years ago, I did build an entire space station one piece at a time. And it was my own design, too. I mean, you work with modular pieces. You don't design the pieces, but I, kind of visualized it in my head. I laid it out. All the different components have power requirements, so that's going to determine how big your solar panels need to be. And the bigger your solar panels are, the more they weigh. And yeah, so I don't know. I think it could be fun. It's definitely a have a glass of wine kind of game. It's a lot of mouse and keyboard. I don't think I've ever even played it with a controller. So, yep, that is a possibility. And I think Hunter Call of the Wild I think that could find a home on the channel as well. I was playing a little bit of that the other day, and it's different. I mean, you could say, that's a sim game too, but from that angle, then every game is a sim game, right? Cyberpunk is a sim game. But I don't, or at least I haven't ever thought of games like Hunter Call of the Wild as sim gaming, even though they do describe it as a hunting simulator. But yeah, I think we could bring that to the channel a little bit more often. And I haven't seen, I think there may be a kind of a gap on DLC for Train Sim World. But depending on what the next one is, man, I would love for it to be that Arosa line. I would buy that. I would pre-order that. The Arosa line is the only reason I would get Train Simulator. What are they up to? Train Simulator 2021. Only reason I would get it is for that Arosa line. Arosa and Bernina. All right. Let's make some money. And what else is going on? It's Truck Sim, Train Sim. I have to skin some aircraft. I got a couple more aircraft. I got a Boeing 757 and 767. And I got an Airbus 319 and 321. So I need to build skins for those. And I think I might flip a coin for both, because all four of those aircraft are run somewhere in the world as cargo. So I think I might flip a coin and make one of each of them. We'll let fate decide. Because none of those, I have to say, none of those are really my favorite aircraft in terms of like historical aircraft. So I'm sort of indifferent about what we do with them. But I would like to make two of them, one Boeing and one Airbus, into a freighter. And I think we can tie that in with Kuhn International, our virtual trucking company. I think they can expand out and also handle some air freight as well. So I will skin those with a nice livery for our freight operation, both Europe and the US. And we may do some freight flying in the next few weeks as well. So right in here, carefully. I think we've got about 3/4 of a tank full of water back at the farm, but it's not very expensive to fill up while we're down here. So why not? All right. So that's filling. I'm going to have some water. And I am really glad I took a couple days off the Western Shore. It's a fantastic map. It is arguably a perfect map. And I don't want to burn out on it. I kind of felt like I was. It's because we have two fields. And we're not really using course play a whole lot right now. I don't always have good luck with course play for grass work. I think what we might do is when we do field 100, when we harvest our soybeans, maybe we'll play around with course play a little bit and see if we can get both the combine harvester and the tractor with the trailer on course play, so we can sort of stand back and watch or move on to other things. Because if we can find a grain sell point with a pull through that doesn't require the tractor to back up, pretty sure we can set it up in a way. I mean, I know I've done it before, We can set it up in a way that the combine harvester is on course play in the field, and the tractor, the cart, is servicing that combine harvester and then making trips to the grain sell point. And if we set that up for field 100 and then continue to set those course play courses up for other fields as we buy them, then as we grow, we can have at least one part of our operation automated so we can move on to other things, which it might be grass work. I mean, I know there's a way. So what you do with course play is when you run your mower, you just record that course. And then when you send your rake in, right, you put it on the same course even though it's a different width. And when you send your baler in, same thing. So there is a way to do it, but I've not had great luck with course play and grass work. But we'll figure that out as we get to it. I would like to bring those soybeans in. Man, I really hope they don't wither tomorrow morning in game, first day of autumn. I really hope they don't. I don't think they will, but I don't know. I'm sort of preparing myself for it. You know what? If they do, we've got creator tools running. We can, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I don't want to take this save game quite as seriously as I took the last one. I've got more realistic disabled and no worries there. I'm not feeling bad about that at all. I do like it. I think there are just some maps where it really works better than others. And this may not be one of those maps. So we are making money. And we did that. Larrington trailer was, I want to say, about 20 grand. And we've still got 8,000. We're still making milk. We've got animal food, right? Because we've got our hay bales now. We've got our silage in the pit. We've got straw bales. We own all the equipment that we need to keep the animals fed, other than a food mixer that we can rent for, I think it's 1,200 pounds, and we can get like 3 days at least out of it. So even if you were to spread that over 3 days, it's like 400 pounds a day versus 4,000 pounds for 2,000 liters of TMR. So even if we have to rent that thing 2 or 3 more times before we can afford to buy one, it's not beating us up too badly. So we've got everything we need to keep the animals fed. They're making us money. We've got 200,000 liters, 250,000 liters of, through here, of silage down at the BGA. We can sell that. Bullet Bill released a round baler pack and twin rotor rake pack on Simply Safe. No, I did not see that. I saw the ones that you pointed me at, but that was a single rotor rake, and I don't think I saw a baler. So yeah, the stuff that I went and looked at was before he posted that new stuff, but I'll take a look as soon as I'm done. That's the main reason we're not running more realistic. It's because I do want to continue using his drops. And I think, you know, I don't like to gossip, and I don't like to, you know what I mean? I don't want to like stir up trouble or talk about things I shouldn't be talking about. But I seem to remember Bullet Bill saying at some point that he and Doral, or he and somebody, had a difference of opinion about what realism in physics felt like in Farm Sim, or should feel like. So I think, yeah, it would make sense if this map was really not made for more realistic. You're on Western Shore working Winter Hill Farm. Where is that? Where's Winter Hill? I feel like these aren't marked. That's Hatton. That's Bramble Lane. This is Blockwell. This is Seaview here. This is Blackrock, maybe? So it's either this one down here to the northeast, or this one up here to the, I'm sorry, southwest. Wait, what? Yeah, southwest. Northeast. Southwest down here. It's either that one or it's this one up here. A combine as well. Saint. Ernie was just saying he released rakes and balers. Combine as well. Stingray, is it this one up to the north around fields 4 and 5, or is it the one down south by field 82 and 88? Because I think I remember the names of all the other ones. Yeah, Hatton, Blockwell, Bramble Lane, Blackrock, Blackridge, and then Seaview. So it's got to be one of these other two. All right, let's set the brake here. So even if it wasn't for Bullet Bill dropping those mods, I feel like this map is just not, I don't know, more realistic. Just, I wouldn't say that it ruins it, but it doesn't add anything to it. So I think it's a good trade. And I don't want to get too hung up on mods. You know, not on any particular top northeast. Okay. I wouldn't want to get hung up on one particular mod to the point that I stopped enjoying the game. You know, that's no fun. See if we can do this for main cab. Carefully. I think we're far enough over. Are we? Yep. Yeah, a little too far. I was worried about hitting that bracket right there, but we cleared it. Did we? Did we, though? All right. Take another swing at it. There we go. Perfect. And we're in the trigger. We're in the trigger. Right on. Yeah, we'll go check that out. All right. And we need to, because I have the overlapping key commands, we need to drop this, then shuttle, then stop. Yep. Stop wasting water. All right. And we're leaving. Ma'am. Yeah, Saint, I don't want to have enough of it. So it was really important for me to, I don't know, sort of cleanse the palate a little bit. Because it is a good map, and it deserves, I think it deserves a series. And it's got enough work and time and effort put into it that it would be a shame to burn myself out on it and waste all that time and effort that someone put into making an amazing map. Stingray, there is a mod called More Realistic by Doral, and it's a really, really good mod. I would say it radically alters the physics and handling of the tractors, but there's two problems with it, I guess. One is all vehicles and trailers need to be made more realistic compatible, and because FS17 is getting a little long in the tooth, it's not always easy to find the XML files to make them compatible. And the other problem is it's really aggressive, and it doesn't work great on maps that have a lot of hills or steep hills. So I typically run it. I used to run it with Gearbox, but I've just been running it by itself the past few save games. But we were running into some problems with it, and then Bullet Bill dropped a pack of equipment, several packs of equipment that were not more realistic compatible, and I at the moment don't have the ability. Let me see, we want this. Yep. At the moment, I don't have any way to make them compatible. It involves some, wait a minute, what's going on here? No, we're gonna go the other way. Stop. Storage mode, load. So we want left, shift, R. There we go. It's going the wrong way. Hang on, it's the flute song. Had to get rid of that. So it's a great mod. It just doesn't work on this map, and it wouldn't work with that equipment. So those two things put together sort of made it, I wouldn't say a deal breaker, but I went ahead and deactivated it for the time being. And I think I'll keep it deactivated just on this map. All right, so if we get this back in here, maybe. There are times when I think this is more like a 250 to 350 horsepower farm. And I think if we did get bigger equipment, if we got 6-meter and 9-meter and 12-meter equipment and 400 horsepower tractors, where would we put them? Right? Like what would we do with them? All right, so we go right here. Set the brake on this. If we... So what I'm thinking is this. The animals are still good, but they're getting kind of light. Let's do this. If we speed through time till like 4:30 this afternoon, I'll go down and get the food mixer. We'll bring it back here. We'll get the cows fed. Right? We'll give them whatever that thing holds. 12,000 liters, 16,000 liters, as much as they can take. We'll fill their trough and then sleep through the night again and see if our soybeans are ready tomorrow morning. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered that. Let's throw some fert on this grass. Yeah, I'm so glad I remembered that. Well, we had to speed time up till the store opened anyway. All right. Oh, so glad I remembered that, because we would have lost the opportunity to get fert on that grass before it grows. And I'm okay with doing this because it's not going to cost us... We would need to rent a spreader of some kind either way, but if we get a slurry sprayer, we won't have to buy anything to fill it. We can just use digestate from the BGA. So let's get some fertilizer on field 9.5, and then if it does grow overnight, and I assume that it will, we might get a 4th cut in. And that's why I didn't clamp what's down at the BGA. And we're not starving at the moment. We've got a little bit of money as far as loan cap, and we've got a little bit of money in the bank, and the cows are making milk. So I figured I'd wait till we had $500,000 in there, clamp it all at once, and then unload it all at once. And I do use course play to unload the pit, particularly when we have a small bucket like we have right now, because all we've got is a front loader with a 1,500 liter bucket, and there'll be 500,000 liters in there. And I did make a course play course for that unload process before I started putting silage in the pit, or grass that will become silage. So what you can do, if you forget, you may know this, but is just start another save game with the same map and create your course play course there. And that course play course will be bound to the map rather than the save game. So then when you start up your save game that has something already in the pit, you can use that course play course. You don't need to worry about trying to create a course when the pit is half full. Yeah, Saint, I agree. Our favorite sims are getting old. And there have been some new ones, but I mean, Flight Simulator 20 it's not my kind of flying, and it's still really, really buggy. I would say that's the biggest sim that dropped in 2021. There have been some racing sims, but iRacing is coming up on like, what, 20 years old? Race Room is old. R Factor 2 came out in like 2012. ETS is 2012. Our favorite sims are old. They are. X-Plane 11 came out in 2016. X-Plane 12 is, I guess, in the works. There's going to be one more big roadmap patch for X-Plane 11. And then they're going to focus all their resources on X-Plane 12. So I don't know when our next drop of sims will be. I don't know when we're going to get a new farm sim. And I don't know when we're going to get a new truck sim. I'm really curious. I mean, neither one are problematic right now. But I do think at some point, try as we might to keep loving them, they are going to age out. You know, at some point, this game that looks really good right now is going to look like 8-bit. Just because of all the technology that has evolved sort of around it and past it. Yeah, I think all those games are built on the same code. Car mechanic, hot rod mechanic, motorcycle mechanic, train locomotive mechanic. I really think they were all running the same code. And that company just more or less dropped in. So this is 180. That company just dropped in. Is that right? Yeah, these are both actually kind of small. This has no horsepower requirement, but we don't need, yeah, we don't need that. That's 200 horsepower. Yeah, it's the thing for me about those games is they just get old so fast. Yeah, Stingray, it really is. That was the complaint on day one, and I don't know. I mean, I guess they're just moving. I guess they're moving more in the console direction. You can mod it pretty heavily and get it a lot more realistic, but it's moving in the opposite direction that we anticipated when 17 dropped. All right. Yeah, they're Ernie. They make me think of smartphone games. They're novelty games that you play to kill time, but there's really no. They're not immersive. I don't get any feeling of like satisfaction or accomplishment when something happens. It just all seems so generic. Everything you do is just exactly the same. We've got a ton of drag from this thing. I hope this isn't, because it was the CD Models Animal trailer is the one that has that invisible collision. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they made this move after 17 was sort of a high watermark, right? I'm glad they didn't go in this direction after like 13 or 15 or something. Because in comparison, those are pretty primitive games. But I think 17 is, if this is what we're stuck with for a few years until either Giants or somebody else releases a realistic farm simulator, the kind that we like to play. If this is what we're stuck with, I'm not really bothered by that. I don't feel deprived or frustrated when I play this game. It's still very enjoyable, very satisfying. I think it looks really good. Oh, right on, Saint. Yeah, that's the map that got me hooked. Colbert Park and what's the Oxygen David? I'll know it as soon as I hear it. It's yeah, that one. But those two maps absolutely pulled me in. I can remember it like it was yesterday, starting up on top of the hill in Colbert Park with those unbelievable sightlines, with seasons turned on, and it just, I don't know, it felt like a cold late winter, early spring morning. It's the first time I felt that. Chellington. Yep. Nope. Go the other way. There we go. Now let's see what our rate is like as far as emptying these. Because I know we've had sort of ups and downs with liquid fertilizer. Well, yeah, because there's liquid. We'll call this digestator slurry. We've had ups and downs. We've had good luck and bad luck. Yeah, it's... Man, there are people that you see do things and... Or at least for me. I won't speak for anybody else, but at least for me. It's like listening to a piece of music or seeing a piece of art, and... who was it? John Lee Hooker. When John Lee Hooker heard Johnny Lang play for the first time, he said, I was overcome with joy, and at the same time I wanted to break his little fingers. And I can relate, because there are times when you see something that somebody's created that it's so perfect, it's so amazing, that it almost makes you mad. That you know what I mean? You can't even get close to that. You can't even get there. Oh, right on, Saint. The only thing, I wouldn't say that I didn't like it, but the only thing that I could never really get into with Colbert Park was the location of the pigs. It just seemed, you know, going out that very, very narrow lane. I just never got there with the pigs. But when I look at Coldborough Park and how good that map still is all these years later, and you look at the Western Shore, I feel like Bullet Bill he's truly on another level. You know, there are people that are just so good at something. Traffic is fixed? Thank you. Because I have to keep it turned off on Coldborough Park. Traffic it's just ramming speed. Permanently. Always ramming you. I feel like there are people that do things that they are truly on another level. They do things that even if you see them do it, you try to do it yourself and it's like, yeah, no. I don't. It's like we're doing the same thing, but we're not. You know, you're doing something not of this earth. And I don't mean to overstate it, but when you think about how many people make maps, and I wouldn't say how easy it is to make a map, but you know, we've got the technology. We all have access to Giants Editor. Anybody can make a map. There are hundreds, thousands of people that have taken a crack at making maps. And to be the person out of all those thousands of people that like comes out on top as this is how it's done. You know, give credit where credit is due. That is talent. All right, so right up through here. You pull out, they stop. That's the part I didn't understand. They didn't seem to be going terribly fast. They just didn't stop. I never understood it. And I didn't know if it was a meme because, you know, like I was just saying, the guy obviously knows what he's doing. Is that how people drive in that part of the world? If they do, I don't want to go there. All right, so I'm going to drive up to the top of the field with the PTO off. Because we're barely going to make it up there with 12 tons on this thing. And then we'll go side hill across the top of the field and work our way down. We'll see how far down we get before we... Oh, come on, little 5600. Counting on you. We're counting on the 5600 for everything. I would say better. Saint, I would say better. If I could get back the $18 that I paid for Straw Harvest from Aerosoft and give it to Bullet Bill for multiple maps that he's made for us for free, it's, you know, even if it was just Western Shore and the West Coast and Coldborough Park, $18, that's $6 a piece for those maps. That's less than you pay for a bad movie. All right, so I'm going to back this down. And let's go. Are we? Yeah, we're miles per hour. No, we're still in euros. Hang on, let me swap this over. We're going to go here. Yeah, it really was. And the building with the little crane in it, where you're supposed to like the pellets something. It seemed like such an afterthought. The models and assets themselves were good, like the vehicles. The balers were good. Some of the grabs for the front loader, I thought those were good. Let's see how long this lasts us. Let's see how far we can get. I thought those were good, but the building with the crane in it seemed like something made by somebody who was just learning Blender, or someone who was mad at their boss, right? Somebody that didn't get a bonus. I don't know. It seemed really flat, bad textures, bad controls, and kind of pointless, right? And then you compare that to the Corona Ultimate that ARM gives away for free. So I would pay for mods. Well, I have been. I found my replacement for buying DLC on the Dovetail portal, right? Train Sim World. Instead of buying Train Sim World DLC, I'm going to buy stuff for X-Plane. I would say that I'm out of control, but I realize how quickly it could get out of control. I totally understand how people spend thousands of dollars on that game. Because there's aircraft that are $100 a piece, There are airports that are, I don't know, anywhere from $20 to $70. Scenery packs, little add-ons. It never stops. I think what I may do is try to create a dispatch for my virtual airline that I fly these routes from these cities. So if I did buy any airports, it would be only those airports and then just call it good. And at the moment, I'm only flying in Europe, but I do have North American scenery downloaded, free scenery from Laminar. But I've got that free scenery. I may buy European airports, and I think that's it. I don't have any scenery from Asia, Africa, South America, or Australia. And I feel like that sort of keeps me from flying there. Right? Because I don't have it, I'd have to download it. Little Nightmares. Haven't heard anything about it. Now I'm curious. See, I'll need to be very, very careful. I think I'll be okay. Because the game is... What I'm finding about X-Plane is... Like yesterday, trying to fly the MD-80. And when you're not on VATSIM, you can just do whatever you want. So you've got all the time in the world. And there really aren't any mistakes because it's just you, right? You're by yourself. So I was letting the aircraft fly itself a lot, which is not as easy as it sounds. It's an accurate, mostly accurate representation of a real plane. So it's not as simple as just flipping on the autopilot and the autopilot does everything. But I was letting the autopilot bring me down through the star, through the transition, and down to ILS, and then I would take over from there. And I assumed that was going to happen as I was getting into Schiphol yesterday, and instead ATC came on the radio and told me, this is the heading I need you to fly to. And okay. So I dialed the heading in and made the turn, and now I was no longer on autopilot. Well, I was still on autopilot for keeping the aircraft level and holding altitude. But as far as LNAV, right, where the software is going to fly it all the way down to the ILS beacon, that was no longer a possibility. I was going to have to fly the entire approach, sort of hybrid, using heading, but also manually. I was not expecting that. And flying the aircraft and communicating with ATC at once is... I certainly have my hands full, so I can't see myself amassing 30 or 40 different airports. I think it's probably going to be 6 or 8 airports that I fly to. I'm really curious now, because it could be anything. Little Nightmares is so open-ended. That could be anything from survival horror to, I don't know, house flipping. Could be anything. We got 15% of this field done. I'm going to say 15 max. I would have preferred 25 because we've got 50,000 liters. This thing holds 12. So that'll be 4 trips. If we had got 25% done, right? 4 trips at 12,000 apiece would be 48,000. That would be all we've got down at the BGA. And that would be the entire field. So carefully right through here. So we'll see if we can get this whole field done. I think if SCS does drop DLC, I got to itch my nose. If SCS drops DLC anytime in January or February, I think that's great for them because it really is kind of a dead zone for gaming. All types of gaming, not just sim gaming, but really nobody's releasing titles right now. It's a dead time of year. Everybody's broke from the holidays. Nobody's got disposable income because they're paying off credit card bills. So if they do release content, it's going to be, you know what I mean? They're not going to have a lot of competition as far as, where am I going to spend my gaming money this month? I think the only place to spend it will be on those DLC. And of course, they'll be like $12, 15 at the most. And that is why people love SCS. Oh, and we haven't, since we started making money, I haven't done any, but you know, the other thing we can do is off camera, I can do some contract work. And I think, you know what, we can, when we're down here filling up, my very first job, I worked for a house painter. And we used Snap-on tools. And we would see the Snap-on driver, and he would run from us. I'm not joking. We'd see him like parked at a gas station eating his lunch. We'd pull in our little painter van, and he'd see us pull up. He'd close the doors on the truck, start it up, and drive away. Because he didn't want to warranty tools. And I don't understand it, because that doesn't cost them anything. I mean, I know they're like independent vendors or whatever, but that doesn't cost them anything. He just didn't want to do it. So it turned into like a running joke that I can't, the pop screen on my microphone is in front of the little box down there that tells me when I'm in the trigger. I think I got it. Maybe. Maybe. I missed it. Oh no, I got it. Yeah, it was, we spent like the whole summer trying to chase down the Snap-on guy. And we will have, when this is out, we'll have, yeah, it'll be almost 4 trips exactly. So if we can get that field done in 4 trips, you know what, let's do this. Oh, you're saying you run from the Snap-on guy. Is this so you don't spend any more money? Perfect. 29,000 liters left in there. That's 2 trips. If we get down there twice and it's still not done, let me see how much is left. If it's just like a little strip, I may leave it. You know, I'm not going to worry about renting a broadcast spreader or something for one little stripe, because the only way we'd be able to put... Just ignore that sound I just made. Never happened. You heard nothing. The only way we could fill a broadcast spreader is to buy 1,000 liters of fertilizer, and then we would end up... I mean, we could try to just let a little bit trickle in there, but we'd have to put the rest in the barn till next year, so... Yeah. Yep. I know exactly what that's like. Good friend of mine is a CCO and heavy wheel mechanic. And he's... I thought hand tools were expensive until I saw the tools that he uses. And it is... He's got $100,000 of tools on his truck. It's absolutely mental. But the equipment that he works on is so expensive to rent that if it's down at all, it's costing thousands and thousands per hour. I've always thought hand tools are beautiful. Any type of tool work, machine work, dies, that stuff is all just... I love it. Yeah, he's CDL, CCO. And a lot of the stuff is computerized now. He works on Manitowoc and Liebherr. And a lot of it's computerized. So a lot of what he does is like software training, and some of these rigs are set up now. The cranes are set up when they begin detecting a problem with their own software. Yeah. Yeah, get the easy out. Some of the big cranes will begin detecting problems. They have sensors all over them. They'll begin detecting problems. So he'll get an email from a crane with a parts list. And he just needs to figure out, you know, track down who rented it, where is it, and call FedEx or UPS or DHL, have the parts sent to the job site. He gets in his truck and heads out there, meets the parts, and does the repair. All right, so we'll go across the top here. Yeah, he has a good time. As long as it's not winter, he has a good time. All right. We're going to have a little bit of overlap right here. I'm going to just try to round this off a little bit so we can start making, I guess, easier side-to-side passes. All right, so there's that. We've got a little bit over here to finish off. Yeah, we got a little bit here to finish off, and then we'll head down this side of the field so we have a place to turn and just start going side to side. All right. I don't know. It could surprise me. I mean, we finished a lot of fields with just 1% left in the tank. So it could work out the same way for this one. We'll see if it does. And back across here. And then down there. Okay. It's all coming together. Man, something else about live streaming. I cannot believe how time flies. I just looked over 71 minutes I've been streaming. It feels like, seriously, 15 minutes. It's amazing how quick time flies when you're doing this. Oh, hey, this is... here's a YouTube thing. So I follow a cat named Flight Deck to Sim. 737 pilot who also does streams of mostly 737 flights, but he flies other stuff too. And he's got a private Discord, and he's got a ton of followers, but he does these group flights with his virtual airline. And I really want to fly that MD-88 in one of his group flights, but you have to join his YouTube. And then that gives you access to the Discord, and the Discord is when you, I don't know, do all the other stuff. All right. So I tried to join his YouTube a couple days ago, and my debit card wouldn't go through, my credit card wouldn't go through. All right, that always makes me nervous. So I called Bank of America, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You want to buy a house? You need a mortgage? No, man. I just make sure my debit card works." Okay. Always trying to sell you something. So I finally get YouTube. It wasn't a person. I think it was a bot, but we were chatting back and forth a little bit, and I'm like, "Hey, how come I can't buy anything?" And they said, "We have to verify your identity." And I was like, wow, 10 years just isn't enough, huh? You're not taking any chances. Can't be too careful. So, yeah, I mean, the channel's been up for 3 years. I've posted 1,000 videos. I've got a ton of services through Google. I use extended storage on Google Drive. So they're already billing my credit card annually for multiple services. But if I want to spend $5 on a YouTube channel, I don't know. I don't know. I gotta give them a sample or something. I don't know what. So they said 48 hours to verify my identity, and I told them forget it. If 10 years isn't enough time for you to know who I am, I don't think another 2 days is going to matter. So that sort of spurred me on to get things moving with Twitch. I did do some test streams the other day. It was super, super easy to configure. I had a feeling it would be, but it's more or less one-touch configuration through XSplit. You log into XSplit via your Twitch account. That synchronizes everything. Then you hit a button, it checks your bandwidth, it looks at your graphics card, does everything, calculates all your estimated settings. Then you can tailor things more specifically if you want to, but yeah, it worked just fine. I thought it was going to be, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a big deal because I've seen some streamers that, you know, they seem like morons. They really do. I figure if they can get this stuff working, I should be able to as well. So I did get XSplit configured for Twitch, and I guess we'll just split them. We'll go 50-50 on the streams through the rest of January, and then January 1st, I may transition over to Twitch completely. I mean, I don't necessarily want to, because I know some of you, a lot of you might not be on Twitch, but I think it's a move I have to make. I've also noticed, I mean, it is no longer a coincidence. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, because people are not very good at keeping secrets, but I think it is amazing that my account, my channel has just made it a straight line from 0 to 950, and then it has completely stopped for like a month, 2 months. We've been at 950, exactly at 950. I used to get a couple subs a day, and I still get a couple subs a day, but then I get a couple drops per day. Now, some of those are dead accounts, because I know a lot of people, a lot of my subs are bots and spiders and spammers. So that's fine. I think that's true of everybody. And YouTube does go through periodically and clear those out. But when they do, you lose like 10% of your subs overnight. So for me, that would be like 100. And it stings, you know, but it's sort of not a big deal because they were bots and spiders anyway, so who cares? But I think it's amazing that I'm getting a couple subs a day and losing a couple subs a day, and I'm parked exactly south of where I need to be before YouTube has to start paying me. And I don't think they know I'm not going to monetize, so they're not going to have to start paying me. And I know it would only be like, I mean, you're making like $1 a week on YouTube. And that doesn't seem like an amount of money that would be worth trying to kind of rip somebody off for. But then you multiply that by all the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of accounts on YouTube. If you've got, you know, a couple million people a week crossing over that 1,000 sub barrier, right? And it's $1 or $2 for each of them, right? That's a couple $1,000,000 a week. That's $100 million a year. So I don't know that that's what's happening. It just seems like an extraordinary coincidence. So when I put those two together, you know what I'm saying? It's like with the bullet bill mods dropping. You know, I sort of had my mind made up, and this just kind of put me over the top. All right, filling up. Yeah, I think it's a superior platform. I mean, the quality of the stream was so much better. YouTube has a reputation, I think, because they're so big and because they keep everything forever. They really step on your render. I mean, when I look at my render, or when I was posting videos, I would look at my render and I would upload a 15 gig file. It's just amazing, glorious, high def, super crisp. And then you see it on YouTube and it's like, God, yeah, right? I feel like I'm snorting baby powder here. It's terrible what they do to it. And they kill the sound as well. Twitch does not do that. Now, they only keep videos, they only keep the VOD for 60 days. So I don't think they need to, I mean, YouTube, it's almost unimaginable how much data they have to store every day. It's like terabytes, petabytes of data every single day they get. And they have to store it all. So it doesn't surprise me that their compression is aggressive, to say the least. But to see the way my stream looked on Twitch, it is like night and day. Yeah, that's part of it. It's just an easier platform to stream on. It's built for streaming, and it's built for gaming streaming specifically. Not that people are streaming a lot other than gaming in 2021, but it's a superior platform. And I don't want anybody to feel like I'm bailing out on you, or, you know, if this is the only platform that you want to watch on, or the only platform you can watch on. I don't want you to feel like I'm doing this lightly. And I would certainly like to continue to try to maintain a presence on both platforms. But between my personal disappointment with YouTube, my concerns that they are kind of jerking me around, and the superiority of Twitch as a gaming platform, a gaming stream platform. I think everything is sort of pointing that way. It's going to be the way to go. Saint, I think it's what I need to do to keep the content coming. You know, I don't like to think about it, and it is gaming. I'm not pretending that I'm mining coal here, and I don't ever want it to sound like that. But when I realize like the thousands of hours and the thousands of dollars that I've put into this over the past 3 years, I do want it to be successful. I don't necessarily want it to make money, but I want the channel to grow, and I want to be able to make the kind of content that I want for the audience that I know is going to get it, and as many people as can see it as possible. That's not just from my ego. That's I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a community service of sorts. I struggle to find gaming content that is not kids screaming, and I've made an effort to always make content that is absolutely the opposite of that. So if there are people that are looking for that, I don't want to say I owe it to them, but you know, the more people that are looking for it that can find me, the better. And there've been several points where it was like, yeah, you know, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. This is kind of pointless. And I think if I stay on YouTube, I'm going to continue to feel that way from time to time. It just seems like it's kind of a dead platform. And if you're old enough to remember MySpace, I don't think anybody that looked at MySpace ever thought, yeah, in a few years this is going to be completely gone. It won't even exist anymore. It was unthinkable. And it's completely gone. So we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, and there are these massive, like, monolithic social media presences in all of our worlds. And the idea that they could ever be gone, it's like, come on, right? But it happens, you know. Standard Oil isn't Standard Oil anymore. U.S. Steel is struggling. Automakers needed bailouts. Massive corporations go out of business all the time. So I do think YouTube is a dying platform. It is. Saint, I agree. It's what I look for, and I do have a hard time finding it. And I will say that I have found content that is maybe a little bit too much in the other direction. I've found some super, super dry, like train sim and flight sim, where it doesn't seem like people are even enjoying themselves. It's more of a tutorial. And I do want my content to be lighthearted. I want people to have fun. You know, it's silly. We're playing video games. It's just pixels. So I do want the stream to be kind of adult oriented, but I don't want it to be boring. And it does seem to be a niche. It does seem to be something that not a lot of people are doing. Yeah, it's tricky. Now, it's something I need to be careful of on Twitch, and some of the streamers that I watch do this. It doesn't bother me that they do it, but I recognize that it is a bit of a trap, is when you have some of the stream games in between, right? Marbles is the big one. Everybody wants to play marbles. Drops, right? Normally you have 800 people in your stream. You do drops, you have 12,000 people in your stream. It does feel a little bit more competitive on Twitch, a little bit more mercenary. And I want to be careful that I don't gimmick the channel in a move to grow it. You know, I've always grown it organically. I've never been about self-promotion, and I don't want to stop doing that when I get to Twitch and all of a sudden it's like, you know what I mean, reggaeton horns and giveaways. I don't want to do that. So we'll see how it plays out. I have kind of a loose plan. It's, I don't know. We'll just see how it works out. What's up, Saint? I mean, I feel like we need to approach this strategically. I feel like there is a middle path here that could be a win-win for everybody. You know, the best transactions are the one where both parties come away feeling they took advantage of the other party. Huh? I mean, is she watching? I mean, listen, Mrs. Saint Aggressor. See, the way things are working out, I mean, it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world, and you never know what's going to tomorrow may never come. And because of that, something hand wave, right? Shouldn't you really go just get the beer? That's all I got, bro. So I mean, so there's 5 steps to a sale. If you want to sell something, there's 5 steps. Introduction, qualification, presentation, overcome objections, and then close. So you gotta start with the introduction. You gotta know who you're talking to. Then you gotta qualify them. You gotta see what makes them tick. You gotta figure out how to push their buttons. And then you go to work on them. I had a sales manager once. He told me, what we do here, we rub them up fluffy like a tennis ball, and then we clip them. So you got to do the rubbing before you do the clipping. Exactly, yeah. Maybe, oh, see, now you're thinking. While you're up, getting yourself something, right? Since you're going to be at the store anyway, while you're there, could you pick me up? All right. I'm feeling like we're making progress. I don't know if we're going to get this done with what we have down at the BGA. I hope we do. My OCD would not be okay with that. Now, are you talking about like the fancy microbrew? Because there was a couple of years where I was buying like $30 and $40 beers, just a single beer. I was very much into Trappist ales, right? Get a big bomber of that with the champagne cork in it. Cost you $50. So I don't know, man. It's not impossible to spend $200 on a case of beer. All right. I have to say I'm enjoying this map a lot more without more realistic. I didn't think I would. I thought I was kind of on that train forever. But I'm really enjoying the I don't know, the variety, the difference. Where are we at? 88 minutes. Oh, so if we get this done and get the animals fed, and we're near 2 hours, I think what I might do is sleep through till tomorrow morning and see if our soybeans are ready. I'm very confident they will be, but that'll tell us whether the soybeans are ready or whether they withered, and it will also tell us whether or not this grass is ready. Well, not ready, but whether it's growing again and we'll be able to get a 4th cut. So let's do that. We'll focus on finishing field 9-5, right? And then we'll sleep through till tomorrow morning. If we've still got time, I might start the harvesting. But we got to feed animals too. All right. It's right down here. I'm trying to think of anything else gaming related that I can think of. I think that's everything. No, there's one more thing. What was the one more thing? Something. Yep. I saw something else yesterday. Oh, there's a new track for Ride 4. Kyalami. And I'm feeling like Kyalami is kind of making a move to get back on the Formula One calendar. I think they got their FIA certification, their whatever it is, grade 1, grade A, whatever the safety certification is that you need to host an F1 race. I believe they did get that, and they've been lobbying pretty hard to bring that back. I mean, the new Kyalami is not anything like the old Kyalami, but close enough, right? So, but I'm seeing that everywhere. It's in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's in Ride 4, and it's in another sim as well. So, you know what I mean? It's just suddenly like very visible. And I had heard about Kyalami, but I didn't know of it ever being in any sims until the past year or so, and now suddenly it seems to be in a lot of different places. So hopefully they make that big push. I would love it if F1 was like it used to be. I know it sort of can't be because it might not be as big as the Olympics, but it's not nearly as grassroots as it used to be. But I would love it if it was a completely different calendar every year with just a couple of the classic races. I think the problem is that everybody has a different idea of what the classic races are. I don't know how much longer Monaco is going to hang on. I don't think anybody likes that track. Maybe the people of Monaco think it's a really good idea, but I don't know that anybody's really into Monaco anymore. The drivers don't like it. The cars aren't built for Monaco anymore. They're too big and too fast. So maybe they'll just leave it on there forever, but I think Monaco at some point is going to have to go and free up that spot. But Monza will stay on there, probably Silverstone and Spa. But beyond that, I don't know, man. I feel like there are a lot of other tracks that we think of them as classic tracks, but there were other classic tracks on the circuit that are gone now. We could bring those back, and they'd still be classic tracks. They'd just be ones that we haven't seen in 20 years. I think we will get this done, because if we get 3 or 4 passes done here, yeah, I think we'll get this done in one more trip. And we can get the animals fed, and we'll get some sleep. All right. Progress. Continuing. When we get all done with this, when we get those soybeans in, we'll get to see finally what Crop Manager does. I still don't know what it does. Several people have explained it to me, and I just kind of nod. I don't know what it does. I'm really hoping we don't sell all those soybeans for like $8,000. All right. Yeah, we'll just keep doing this. We can't get to the top of this field, and I would say this is one of the steeper fields on the map. Maybe the one right next to Bramble Lane, the sort of tall, skinny field that goes like right up the fall line. That might be steeper, but this is about as steep as it gets on this map. And if we can make it up to the top of this field with 12 tons of digestate and kind of a wee tractor, I think we'll be all right. Now, if this doesn't grow, we'll lose all this fertilizer. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I think we'll lose this fertilizer. and have to start again in the spring. But it's okay because we did get 3 cuts. If we get a 4th one, that's, I don't know, it's like a free 40 grand, 30 grand. Right. So our rental on this was 1,500 pounds, I think. And we didn't have to pay for anything to put in it. So yeah, this worked out. All right, and I think, yeah, we'll make our way back across. I was thinking just heading down there now. But we still got, yeah, we're still like 10% full. Let's get this emptied out. All right, beautiful. All right, one more trip. I don't know, man. You're very welcome, but that was not my best work. You sort of caught me out. I was not expecting. I was not expecting that. Whoa, easy. Easy, son. Little Nightmares. I'm really intrigued by this. I mean, I sort of don't need... I don't want to tell you what I spent on aircraft in the past 48 hours. I'm not happy or proud of what I've done. So that's it's getting me from both sides, because it's like, yeah, you shouldn't spend any more money on video games, and you should use the ones that you just got. There you go. What time is it? It's 2:30 here. Oh, that's not quite gin and tonic time. Man, I could not believe the timing. Now there's some American events on VATSIM, not too many, and there's some further east. Indonesia, Taipei. Taipei's in Taiwan, is it not? Yeah, I think so. So there's some further away, some closer. But I would say easily 75% of the events go from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Zulu, 6 to 9 UTC. And that is exactly, literally, what I'm streaming, or what I try to stream. Hang on, I got to approve that one for you, Saint. Let me get in here and get pulled over. All right. It's not a sim at all. Oh, that is the worst. Seeing a title in my library that I didn't figure out quickly enough that I should refund. And it's like, I can remember off the top of my head what I paid for all of them. Oh, it's just... And then I get this ridiculous idea like, well, maybe if I tried it again. And that never works either. Is it? There we go, we're in the trigger. Oh, you know what? A little one now and then, not a big deal. That doesn't bother me. Is it? What? Is this our 5th trip? Oh, I thought this was our 4th trip. Oh, damn it, man. All right. We've got like, we've got a third of a, oh, all right. I don't think we're going to be able to finish. We're going to have an unfertilized stripe. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered. All right. So immediately I'm like, oh, you know what we could do? We could buy the slurry and digestate cell point. That's only 12 grand. Oh, but we don't have anywhere to put it. Oh, right, we'd have to buy some land. That's only like 100 grand. Oh, but then it's like 10,000 per trailer. Or we could just have an unfertilized strip across the field. Yeah, I'm kind of moving away from that, Ernie. I spent, I want to say close to $700 on Train Sim World. Well, Train Sim World 20. Unfortunately, it all ported over to Train Sim World 2. But a lot of those DLC, I bought them pre-order, right? Saved the 10% so I could have them on the channel as soon as they dropped. 50 people watched the video and I never played that DLC again. So I'm sort of pulling back from that. There have been a couple DLC that have dropped for Train Sim World 2 that I have not bought. In fairness, they were both locomotives, and nobody really cares about that stuff anyway. But yeah, I'm all about saving money when I can. This is an expensive hobby, and I feel like I'm just about to turn the corner into hardware world. And what I'm going to end up with is 2 independent rigs. I'm going to have one flight rig and one racing rig. And then both of them will have some crossover with other sim games. But it's then the hardware that will be connected to those PCs. So it's going to be between $3,000 and $5,000 for each of them. And I'm really dreading that. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I want to do it. I definitely want to have a race rig and I want to have a flight rig. I just don't want to spend 10 grand. Yeah, did you get it on Steam? Because Tomb Raider was super, super cheap on Steam right before New Year's. I want to say it was like 89% off or something. And GTA 5 was super cheap as well. Yeah, you're right, Ernie. And I think that's sort of how they get you. Because it's like, as soon as you go to the front page of the store, you can flip through there. It doesn't matter what you're into. You can always find a game that's on sale for an amount that's like, you know, I probably shouldn't pass this up. And then when you come back a week later, there's a whole bunch of different stuff on sale, right? I probably shouldn't pass this up either. If you go under, I think it's under your name, top right. And then I think it's in one of the first windows. There's a tab for see purchase history. I did that maybe a month ago, and I was not expecting that. I felt like I got, I don't know, pulled over for jaywalking or something. I'm sitting in the back of the police car, and the cop sticks his head in and says, "Okay, we're going to charge you with murder." Whoa, 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 whoa. Clearly, obviously, there's been a misunderstanding. There is no possible way that I've spent that much on video games. It's not possible. There's been a mix-up. You've got me confused with somebody else. But no. Got all the DLC for TSW 20? Yeah, I feel you. And there's some of them, because they're so big, they're like 10 and 12 gig a piece. There are a lot of them that I don't even have installed right now. Carefully. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. We need to take this back down to the store to return it. And we need to go down to the... Derp. We need to go down there to pick up our food mixer anyway. So we're not wasting a trip. We're not going to have to deadhead. Perfect. I love it when it works out like that. All right, well, we got most of that field fertilized. The rest of it has... let's got one layer on it now. Most of it has a second layer. And then we'll put a third layer on it tomorrow. And we'll wait till it gets to second harvest stage. So hopefully we get... And we might not get a full 250 out of it, but hopefully we get like 200,000. And that will put what's down at the BGA up close to 500,000 liters. Carefully. And at 130 per liter, 130 per 1,000 liters, that is what, 65 grand. So, I mean, not a bad first year. We're still in debt. But if we get 65 for this silage and 9,000 every few days for milk, and maybe 50,000 for soybeans, yeah. Yeah, the thing that sucks is we can't really buy any more fields or equipment because we don't have room on the loan cap. I guess we could use all the money we make and buy fields. We won't have enough to buy a tractor. You know, it's silver linings, yo. It's amazing how things work out. All the things that I've worried about in my life have never happened. It was just wasted anxiety. And all the things that happened to me that were terrible, I never saw coming. So I finally figured out a while ago, just stop worrying. You got to be careful. You got to try to make good choices. But don't worry, because you're never going to see it coming. I never see it coming. Horrible things happen. It's like, I didn't see that coming. And the other stuff, it never happens anyway. So I don't really worry anymore. Not about anything. All right, carefully right through there. And then right through there. Beautiful. What time is it? 3:30? Oh, this is perfect. I was thinking we were just going to speed through this entire day and then get something done tomorrow morning, but we ended up sort of needing the day. Right, we did get most of that field fertilized. And I'm pretty sure when we take a look, our cows are going to be very nearly out of food. So this is all working out. All right. So we'll drop this right about there. Mighty swing right in there. Where are we at on time? We got 13 minutes. 13 minutes to feed the animals. We maybe could. All right. Right on. Thanks for stopping by, Saint. I'll look for you, brother. And I'll take a look for Little Nightmare. Little Nightmare? Little Nightmares. Plural. Okay. I will take a look as soon as I'm done. And I need to also take a look for those bullet bill drops on Simply Safe. All right, brother. Take care. I'll see you soon. All right. We want to go animals. I'm tempted to just buy this thing. We can't quite afford it yet. Not quite there. We want the UK plate. Yeah, not quite there. All right. I love the rust finish on this. I'm skinning all my aircraft for our, I don't know what it is now. It's like a virtual everything transport company. But I'm getting them all skinned, and a lot of these aircraft have paint kits available that somebody made. They're not part of the mod, but somebody made them. You can find them floating around. And a lot of the people that make them put in like multiple layers of, whoa, easy. They put in multiple layers in the Photoshop file of like rust coming off the rivets, dirt, right? Carbon blowing back from some of the exhausts and outputs. So depending on what you want your plane to look like, and you can turn all those off or make them very, very transparent so it looks like a very clean, new, right? Fancy kind of aircraft. Or you can crank those up a little bit and kind of burn them in and do some tricks in Photoshop and make it look like a very, very old aircraft. With, I guess it wouldn't be rust, it would be more like corrosion of some kind coming off the rivets. But every time I see this old rusted out feed mixer, I think I'm really tempted to, well, because the skin that I made for the MD-80 that we flew from Grand Turk to Miami, I tried to make it look somewhat weathered. Because that plane first flew in 1979, but they made them, I want to say, until the early 90s. So if you got on one today, and I think American was flying them till like last year. So if you got on one somewhat recently, it wouldn't necessarily be a 40-year-old aircraft. It could be 20 years old, which is, it's not new, but it's not that old. It's not like it's been sitting out in the Mojave Desert. But I'm thinking some of these freighters that I want to build, I wonder if we don't want to make the skin really, really kind of blown out and faded and, just really like it has been stored out in the desert for 20 years and somebody bought it at auction and slapped a coat of paint on it. Because I do like the way this feed mixer looks. If I could make an aircraft look, maybe not quite that rusted, but sort of like that. I think that would be perfect. All right, so we'll throw some food in here. We can return this thing. Even if it goes past 5 p.m., we can return this thing. And we do have that one silage bale over there. Right, so we'll throw that in first. That'll give us 6,000. And I think I want to keep mixing this 6,000 at a time. Because when the trough is full, whatever's left over, we'll have to just return it to the store with that TMR in it. And we could dump it on the ground, I guess. But I don't want to fill the thing, right? Like if our trough can take another 1,000 liters, I don't want to make whatever this holds, 12,000 liters, 16,000 liters, and then have to throw most of it away. Right. About there. Yeah, we've been parking this thing on the other side to mix our food. There we go. We've been parking this thing on the other side, and we want it, let's flip it around the other way. So our flap is on the correct side. Yeah, I probably won't make it quite this bad, but somewhere in the neighborhood. I like new things once they get nice and old. Also, I don't think we need to be zoomed quite that far out. It's like looking down from space. All right, I'm going to leave this right here where it's not in anybody's way. And I think we can, yep. We can drop our weight. I'm wondering if it's not bales that are giving us that hotspot. I mean, I thought maybe it was the map. I know there were a couple hotspots on V1, but I'm really reluctant to give it to a map maker like that if I don't absolutely know for sure that that's really what's going on. Like if it's a setting, if it's a mod, if it's, reshade or something. I would hate to blame it on a map maker and it turns out it's just some setting or something that I'm doing. So maybe it's the bales themselves. I don't know though. I mean, I've had hundreds of bales on a map in 17 and didn't really notice any difference in performance. Could just be that we're looking all the way across the map, and it is, even with the FPS savers that Bullet Bill has installed, it's still a really big map with a lot of detail on it. And in hindsight, this first load we're making, it is going to be made with all bales. We could have done this over on the other side. Whoa, easy. Could have done this on the other side of the yard. Not a big deal. Maybe. There it goes. All right. So, yeah, I guess we'll just back all the way up. And if we go right in here, I guess, yeah. So we've got and I'm going to, you gotta got to release several belts because for some reason the effect of the belt. Oh, you know what? Could try to do this first person. Maybe. Break, baby. This could work. This could work. For some reason, the belts will sometimes kind of extend out to the bale next to the bale that you're trying to pick up. Got the axle lock remover mod running, and it really removes the axle lock. Slow down a little bit here. Right there. All right. So let's, how do we do this? So we'll put this down first so we don't spear anybody. And then we can, I guess we could just pull forward. I mean, we can, if we go third person, we can back it up this way. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Hang on. So we get this hooked up. No, man. Not that one. That one. There you go. So if we just pull forward a little bit, we can back up into the barn. And the outlet will be on the right side. Okay. All right. Let's see how full this is with 6,000 liters in it. All right. So turn that off, and we want to go here. I guess they could take one more. I mean, I don't think they'll take a lot more than that. So let's go one more hay bale, and then 2 scoops of silage will be 6,000. Let's see how that works for them. All right. Barn. Right through here. Yep. All right. We'll go throw a strap on these before I forget. All right, there's those. All right, and now let me see. We want to I don't want to put this. I don't know where we can put it. Let's just put it right here. And it seems like an odd place, but it's out of the way, and we'll be done with the bucket. And we can just pick this back up and take it with us. Okay. So there's that. Save game. You know what? I didn't even think we've got slurry in that tank right there. How much do we have? 8,000 liters probably would have been enough to finish that field. Oh, ill will. What are we going to do with you? Didn't even think to look in there. Well, it is fourth cut. So, I mean, money's money, and I like money, but it's not, I would say it's not as critical as some of the other cuts that we've had this year. You know, it's sort of unexpected that we're even getting a fourth cut. I mean, I guess there was a worse place for me to put that. I just, I couldn't imagine where it would be. This is exactly in the wrong place. But so it goes. All right, and I think, so that's 3,000. I don't think this is right. I think we need to put a little bit more in there to scrape. I think we need to put a little bit more in there to balance it out. We've got too much hay at the moment. Maybe. If we don't, it's going to be really close. No, that works. That works. And that's actually better because then we're not putting another, I don't know, another 1,800 liters of silage in there when we don't need to. So now if we can get this thing kicked over without scraping the bucket. Try not to hit anything. All right. I'll take it. We got $2 grand left in there. I'll take it. So now we'll turn this off. Drop that. Put this back where it was. I didn't even think to look in there. Man, I kick myself when I make mistakes like that because I know it's not that big a deal. And we will get another couple 100,000 liters of grass out of that field, but it's just, you know, when you total it up over the duration of a save game, it's like, oh, how much money did I leave on the table? Fortunately, this is probably the least competitive video game. I mean, maybe Truck Sim is up there. All right. And I'm going to take this back down to the store and return it with that little bit of TMR in it. Just not going to be bothered. And as soon as we get down there, we will speed through the night. We'll sleep at the store. And we'll take a look and see what happens tomorrow with both our grass and our soybeans. Then we'll call it. Tomorrow, let's do probably a Euro truck, either Euro truck or the train. I've been really enjoying the high-speed trains. I feel like I'm getting a better understanding of the safety system. So maybe we'll do some high-speed rail tomorrow. And then come back on Sunday and harvest our soybeans. And I may slip in some X-Plane. I mean, the timing is perfect because those events kick off at 1 o'clock. So we would start the stream at the gate, prepping the aircraft and getting our clearance and heading off to wherever. The only reason I want to practice it a few more times is, like I said, it is a handful because I'm trying to fly the aircraft, which is not 100% easy, and talk to ATC, which I'm not really that good at yet, really not that comfortable with. I'm trying to do both those things at once, and then if you throw in, you're trying to read the chat, things like that. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, my biggest fear is that I would interrupt somebody else's game, you know, ruin their immersion. They are on VATSIM for the same reason that I am. It probably adds 10x the immersion. When you're playing flight sim, you're playing a game. When you're on VATSIM, it actually does feel like you're flying a plane. It's just so I don't know, so authentic, so immersive. I know other people are there for that as well as I am, and I would hate to be the person to, you know, ruin that, break the spell by being disruptive. So when I'm better able to focus on carefully, better able to focus on flying the aircraft and ATC and the stream, I think maybe that'll be appropriate. But I mean, in the meantime, we can still fly, but just without VATSIM. And there are a couple other aircraft I want to show you. I did get the 757, the 767, the A319, and the A321. And I'm still learning to fly those. And for some reason, I really enjoy that. Just firing up a stream and trying to figure out the aircraft with you. That just, I don't know. Seems like kind of a social aspect of gaming that maybe we don't have enough of anymore. I'm sure some people do, but the way that I came up in gaming, we would all just sit around on the couch, drink a beer, pass around the controller, and see who could post the best lap time, or see who could get the furthest into a level before the boss killed them or something. But it was very, very social. Gaming now seems to be a lot more, not isolated, but it just doesn't have that same playing games with your friends vibe that it had when I was a kid. All right, so we'll drop that there. I got to do a little 3-point turn here. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do a 3-point turn, because if I do, we'll be trapped in the store parking lot. So let's get turned around this way carefully. 12-point turn. We got it. We'll pull right up here. Exactly. There was a coin room. I don't even remember which Mario it was. There was a coin room where when you go into the room, it's just an entire room full of coins, floor to ceiling. And Mario is top left, of course, and he's got a cape on. I remember us trying to figure that room out, and we were just essentially like falling off that platform. And my buddy finally figured out you could like reach back behind you and hold the cape and kind of fly like a squirrel. And we were laughing so hard. It's one of those times, like when you think about the times in your life that, like the top 5 hardest laughter, I was laughing so hard my head started to cramp. Right? Like you genuinely begin to worry this could become a health problem. That's how hard we were laughing. It's like you don't have that anymore, or I don't have that anymore in gaming. It's a lot more isolated, like I said, for one thing. And yeah, it was a while ago. But it's, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm different than I was when I was a kid. Games are different. Everything's different. But those were really good times. All right. So we'll take a look on the map and see how we're doing. Man, if the soybeans are wilted, we're going creator tools. And animals still have food. Good there, good there, good there. Here we go. How do we do on soybeans? Soybeans are not ready yet. Still growing. Interesting. But the grass is growing, so when we will get a 4th cut. Yeah. I mean, it's still together. It's still together. It's like when olds, right? When boomers are like, oh, you're all sitting around just looking at your phones. Why don't you interact with each other? And it's like, bro, what do you think I'm doing with my phone? I'm interacting with people. They're just not here in this room with me. So it is, I have to say the youngs today, they are playing with other kids or millennials or whatever they are. They are playing with other kids, but they're never in the same room. They don't have that same vibe we had where you would like go to somebody's house on Friday and go to Blockbuster and rent the titles that had just dropped and then stay up all night playing video games, order pizzas. I don't know if kids do that anymore. Those were really good times when I was a kid. All right, Field 95 is growing. We can get another coat of fert on that today. Yep. And I guess we'll get second harvest stage, triple fert, almost the whole field. So we will get a fourth cut. And our soybeans aren't ready yet. So I'll speed time up off camera. I'll finish off this fertilizing. And beginning of next episode, we'll harvest soybeans as we intended to do this morning in game. For some reason, I thought that would be, it is ready. Yeah, it's the first day of autumn. Take a look here. Yep, soybeans are supposed to be ready. Okay, well, they'll be ready when they're ready. All right, that's a little over 2 hours. So we'll call it there. Euro truck tomorrow, something on Sunday, and then we'll be back. Man, that's twice today. Hang on, let me have some water. I'm gonna end this on a high note. Where's my water at? Hey, thanks, Ernie. All right, let's try this one more time. Euro truck tomorrow, and then wait, today's Friday, so Euro truck tomorrow, and then Western Shore on Sunday. Okay, I was like, I lost a day somewhere. All right, see you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate you. You're a great audience. Thanks for doing this with me. It's a lot of fun. See you tomorrow. Good night.